let's talk about everyday talismans and how there are some things that are just simple, easy. They're not that complicated. They don't have to be a crystal or a skull or a piece of witchcraft that is just intuitively a little witchy. Like, it's easy to reach for these things at times because it does. Holding them kind of triggers you into thinking that, hey, maybe I am tapping into something larger than myself, more magical, etc. and so forth. But really, anything could be a talisman. Anything could be something magical. And I think I figured that out because I've made coffee a talisman, or hot drinks in general, kind of. I have gone on and decided that since I was a teenager that coffee was important. Coffee was a thing that I was kind of addicted to. I loved to have a hot cup in my hands because it related to me for something that wasn't stressful. My best friends in high school and I would go to a certain coffee shop to gab about the people we didn't like and to just have a little bit of peace away from everyone else we knew. And coffee became that, even though at the time it was mostly cream and sugar and God only knows what else, not black coffee like I drink now. And I still definitely love myself a white chocolate mocha when I can handle the sweetness. I love the idea that every time I pick up a cup of coffee when I am stressed out, when I'm going crazy, if I just go get a cup of coffee, it doesn't matter if it's from one I made in my own house or some place I got from Coffee Bean or Starbucks or wherever other coffee shop local that I can get. It's important. It's a talisman. It's not just the caffeine that gives me the adrenaline rush and the hyped up and I can get stuff done. It actually in a lot of ways calms me down the minute I have that hot cup in my hands. I feel like I can take a breath the minute I drink it. And I think it's because I made it a talisman. I made it a thing to trigger, to signal that everything's okay. It's almost like coffee is a trigger for my mind and my magic to send out this protection spell thing. Like, I've even noticed the minute I have a cup of coffee, people don't talk to me as much. People don't, they wait for that first sip. Whether that's just because of cultural norm or whatever it is like when someone is drinking their coffee, you wait a minute, wait for them to finish. Give them a second. Let them take that sip. Let them sit in that silence in between moments for just a minute so they can catch their breath and figure out what's going on. And I was wondering, what other everyday talisman, things that we think of as something you wouldn't even look past? What are things that, you know, as someone who wasn't of the occult and the pagan and the spirituality and all that mindset, what if they saw it and they would think nothing of it, but to you it means something hugely magical? And I think coffee is that for me. I've started scrying with coffees a little bit in the morning. I pour myself black coffee and I just kind of stare into it, trying to see what visions come up. And then I use the drinking of it to bring me to ground me back as I am about to prepare for my day to go to work. It gives me a standpoint when I'm even talking about coffee and cauldrons and I feel a little too out of it or a little too connected to the astrals if I'm gonna like pop back into it in any second, even though I'm trying to be present in the moment and film a video. I can take a sip of coffee and it kind of grounds me for a second. And I guess there are probably other things like that as well. Like, I know that when I feel the breeze, it has a sense of excitement that I've always picked up from it for whatever reason. When there is, you know, certain levels of spinning stuff. I used to spin a stone in a necklace when I was younger a lot. And sure, that seems kind of witchy, a crystal and a talisman and a necklace, but for me it was very mundane. It didn't have any sort of spiritual moments to it. It was just a nervous habit that now, if there's a crystal in the palm of my hand, if there's something stone-like in my hand, then I calm down. So I wonder, what are these other talismans maybe that you've used? What are some things that the minute you do it, it just sends out a vibe that you can take in or not take in, and or maybe a sense of protection, a vibe of happiness, maybe joy. Maybe there's something you do that triggers in a way that's negative. I think that's where other triggers come from, right? Something reminds you of something, or not even reminds you, but just makes you uneasy and you don't know why when people do something. It makes you go a little crazy, because why would you do that? Everyone else is like, it's not that big of a deal. Why are you freaking out about it? I think these mundane things can be very triggering in goods and bad ways. And it's fun to play with that a little bit. I love leaning into the idea that as long as I have a cup of coffee, everything's fine. As long as I have the ability to feel the breeze, have a breath of fresh air, I can feel free, released for a second. I don't feel trapped. I love that something heavy and stone-like in the palm of my hand is immediately grounding. It doesn't make me feel like I'm spinning out of control. little things like this, little everyday talismans. And I love that there are a lot of inconspicuous things. I like the ostentatious witchcraft, I guess you could say, the level of things that are, you know, clearly a little bit of the occult. It's got that little spooky, almost cliched vibe mixed in with it. But I also like that stuff that you could almost just glance past, that no one would even notice that you're doing something magical, doing something a little witchy. Anyway, I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can find me on all of the lovely Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, social medias at Shadow Harvest. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.